Okay, good morning everybody. So next we proceed to 4.5 multiplication of two matrices. Okay, this is something very new to you. You never learned this before in your Form 1 to Form 3. So you must watch this video. Okay, how do you multiply? Okay, I always ask students to remember R times C. Okay, R multiplies with C. Okay, try the first one. I will show you. Example 13. Find the product. Product means multiply. Okay, you see? It's one matrix multiply with another matrix. How do you multiply like that? Okay, first thing you need to draw out. Draw first. Okay, ask yourself. The first matrix you always ask yourself, how many row? R or W row. Second matrix you always ask yourself, how many column? Okay, then you draw out. Okay, first, how many row do you see for this matrix? Okay, how many row you see? There's only row 1, right? So I draw out. This is called my first row. Okay, you don't have to ask yourself how many column here. Next matrix, ask yourself, how many column do I have for this matrix? So column. How many column? Column 1, just one column. Okay, C1. Okay, so your answer, so you draw, you see how many intersection do they have. For this question they only have one intersection, meaning that later your answer will become just matrix with only one element. Okay, this one, how to find out the answer. Okay, so must listen carefully. Okay, to find this answer here, the little dot here, you must take your row 1, multiply with column 1. Okay, row 1, multiply with column 1. Here, row 1, this 2 and 1, multiply with column 1, 3, 4. How do you multiply then? Okay, I show it to you already. The first element, multiply with the first element. 2 times 3. 2 times 3. Continue, yeah? Plus, you want to continue with another multiplication, you add on plus what? Next number, next element with the next element. -1 times 4. Okay? Then you close the bracket. This is your matrix. But you have to find out the answer. This is your matrix. Okay? So it is 6 minus 4. Your answer is a 2. Okay, this is your matrix. This is your answer. This matrix is a 1 row 1 column matrix. You see, even though order is different, you will get another kind of matrix. Okay, B now. Also the same. You draw out first. Ask yourself for the first matrix, how many rows do you have here? So you count 1 row, 2 row. Okay, so you draw out row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2. Then you go to the next matrix. Ask yourself, how many columns here? 1 column, 2 column. 1 column, 2 column. Okay, see, your drawing is different from the first one. So later, how many answers do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Your matrix will have 4 elements later. Okay, how do you find the first dot here? Okay, this is C1, C2, right? Okay, how to find the first column? Always refer back to your drawing. This intersection, the dot here, is between row 1 and column 1, right? Row 1 and column 1. So you go back to your question and find out where is row 1. Row 1 is here, kan? Row 1 times with column 1. This is your C1, right? So, okay, my matrix will be a big one because I have 4 elements. How about the first? What is the first element? Just now I told you row 1, column 1. Row 1, column 1. 3 times 2. Do you need to plus anything? No need, because for this case, there's only one number in each row, each column. Okay, then we want to find out the second dot here. This second dot refer, what is the intersection between which line? Intersection between row 1 and column 2. Okay, find out where is your row 1. Just now, this is your row 1 kan? Row 1 times with column 2. Where's your column 2? Column 2 is this column. It's no longer related to column 1, yeah? So, row 1 times with column 2. 3 times negative 1. Okay. Next element. Intersection between row 2 and column 1. Go to your question. Row 2 where? Oh, this is your row 2. Row 2 times with column 1. Column 1 is this. So 4 times 2. 4 multiply with 2 only. Okay, next one, the last one, last element is between row 2 and column 2. Row 2 and column 2. Row 2, column 2, 4 times negative 1. Okay, so multiply them. 6, negative 3, 8, negative 4. Hashtag, this is the product of each of the following. This is the product of these two matrices. Okay, okay, there's one more. Okay, I drew it out for you. How do you get this? Yeah. Okay, ask yourself the first matrix. How many rows here? 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows. So you draw 3 lines, 3 rows first. Then next, second matrix, you ask yourself how many columns? 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. 1, 2, 3. Okay, after you draw, right, you see there are how many dots here? 9 dots, meaning later your answer will have 9 elements. Okay, we try together. Okay, a big one, a big matrix here, it will be how to find the first dot here. It is the intersection between row 1 and column 1. Row 1, column 1. Okay, so take the 1 times with 0. You don't have to add anything because there's only one number in each row, each column. Next one, row 1, column 2. Row 1, still row 1, yeah? Column 2. So 1 times negative 1. You leave some space here, don't join together. Okay, the next one, it is still row 1, column 3. So don't go to the second row or third row, yeah? Row 1. Row 1, column 3. Row 1, column 3 is a 2. Multiply them. Okay, next one, you go to row 2 now. Row 2 and column 1. Row 2, column 1. Row 2 is here. Column 1, still 0. Go back to 0 now. So 2 times 0. Next, this is between row 2, column 2. So still row 2, column 2 would be negative 1. 2 times negative 1. Next one will be row 2, column 3. Row 2, column 3. 2 times 2. Last one, last row, third row. Row 3 and column 1. Row 3 mana dia? Row 3, column 1. 3 times 0. Row 3, column 2. Row 3, column 2. 3 times negative 1. Row 3, column 3. 3 times 2. Okay, so you multiply them. Okay, become 1. Anything times 0 becomes 0. This one becomes negative 1. This one 2. 0, negative 2, 4, 0, negative 3, 6. Ha, this is your answer with 9 elements inside, which is your drawing here. Okay? Okay, you have to try all this yourself. Yeah, you see 4 matrices on page 7. Try all this. Draw out first. Okay. And then exercise 6 would be SPM question. Also, you must practice all of this. Okay. Okay, I discuss with you K now. Given J is this matrix, hence J square is what? J square, what does J square mean? J square means J times J lo. Okay, so they ask you to multiply -1 and 2, 4 and 0. Oh, no. Multiply the two matrix together. 4, 0. This is J square, means J times J equals to this. Okay. Try this. Okay, before you multiply, right, you have to draw the sketch yourself. Ask yourself, how many rows here? You have 2 rows. Then you go to the next matrix. How many columns here? You have 2 columns, meaning later your answer will have 4 elements. Row 1, row 2, column 1, column 2. Then you want to find the first one. Okay, how? Okay, the first element would be row 1 times with column 1. Row 1, column 1. Okay. So this one, be careful, because it's slightly different from the previous example. Okay, row 1 is here. Multiply with column 1. Okay, you see row 1 got 2 elements. Column 1 also got 2 elements. How do you multiply then? Okay, first multiply with the first element. -1 times with -1. Put bracket, easier to see. Then there are 2 and 4 here. What do you do? Okay, you have to continue. When you continue, you add a plus here. Tambah 2 times 4. Okay, this would be your first element. We go to the second element, which is row 1, column 2 now. Okay, so I erase this off again. We find again. It is between row 1 and column 2. Find out where's your row 1. Row 1 is here. Column 2 is this column. Okay, this multiply with this now. The rest of the numbers you don't see first. Okay, so -1 times with 2. Okay, leave some space here. Don't confuse yourself. You want to find the next element. -1 times with 2. Okay, there are 2 and 0. What do you do? Continue. Use plus 2 times 0. Okay, later you solve it. Then next one, you want to find this dot here, this element. It is between row 2 and column 1. Row 2, column 1. So find out where's your row 2 now. Erase off row 2. Okay, this is your row 2. Where's your column 1? Column 1 is here. Okay, these have to multiply together. So 4 multiply with the first element. 4 times -1. Want to continue? You use plus 0 times 4. Okay, done. Go to the last one. Last one would be row 2, column 2. Okay, so it is still row 2 and column 2, right? Okay, so 4 times 2 plus 0 times 0. Okay, after you do this, then you solve it. This is 1 plus 9, -2, -4, 8. Okay, your answer. Okay, the last one, we will also explain a bit here. Express this. You see the two matrices multiply together in single matrix where n is not equals to 0. Single matrix means these two matrices, you multiply them, it will become one matrix only. It will become only a matrix. It is called single matrix. So what do you do then? You know this is multiplication, so you draw again 2 rows, 2 columns. So I draw 2 rows, 2 columns. So later your answer will have 4 elements. Okay, so here straight away I find the answer. First element, row 1, column 1. Row 1, column 1. So do not be confused because there are a lot of n's here. It's still the same method. Okay, row 1, column 1. So this 2 over n times n. Write it down. 2 over n times n. Continue, plus n times 0. Okay? Okay. Then we go to the next one. Row 1 and column 2. So find out row 1 and column 2. This one erase. Row 1 and column 2. Okay, leave some space here. Then you start. 2 over n times with 0. Continue, plus n times n. I straight away, time become n square. Okay, next one, row 2, column 1. Where's your row 2 now? Row 2 is here. Row 2, column 1. Column 1. Row 2, column 1. So 0 times n. Straight away, it is equals to 0. I don't have to write anything. Plus with negative 1 times 0. It is still 0. So the whole thing is 0. Okay? Then the last one, row 2, column 2. Row 2, column 2. Row 2, column 2 is here. 0 times 0, 0. Plus with negative 1 times n. Okay, I close my bracket. Okay, solve it. Okay, 2 over n times n. Cancel, cancel. This one becomes 0. It is still 2. Okay, 2 over n times 0 is 0 plus n square is n square. 0, negative 1 times n, negative 1. Okay, this is your answer. This is a single matrix. Okay. So you have done this page. We go to page 8. Page 8. You try to do this. Okay, try to do until exercise 7 SPM question. Okay, let me show you how to do first question here. Okay, given that 3n times, okay, this matrix times this becomes 6, 5n. Find the value of n and p. So this question is slightly different. They say these two matrices times together, you get your answer already. Just that there are some unknowns inside. Okay, how? Still the same method, but later you need to compare them. Okay, first, multiplication. Draw out. Ask yourself how many rows here? 1 row only. So I draw 1 row. Then the second matrix, ask yourself how many columns? 1 column, 2 column. 1 column, 2 column. Okay, meaning actually you have only 2 elements inside for your answer. You see, check. Yeah, 2 elements only. Okay, so multiply it yourself. How to find the first one? Row 1, column 1. Row 1 and column 1. So where's the row 1? Row 1, column 1. So 3 times p. 3 times p. 3p. Continue, plus n times 0. N times 0 is still 0. So I just let it be 3p. Okay, this is your first element. Go to the second. Second element is row 1, column 2. Row 1, column 2. Okay, row 1, column 2. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus with, continue, plus n times 2 become 2n. Okay, after you multiply this, this is your answer, and it is also equals to 6 and 5n. Okay, how to find p and n? Compare them. These two are equal, means that their elements must be the same. 3p equals to 6. 3p equals to 6. P equals to 2. Okay, how about n? Okay, you compare 3 plus 2n equals to 5n. This equals to 5n.